Hey, what's good, everyone? Matt here, and I'm totally here in front of NMB Theater. Nothing strange. I am definitely here in person, on site. And I just got done watching the special Namba 1 Monomane contest competition. It was this special show they did here at the theater. And I'm actually really glad I came. I had a really great time. It was a lot of fun, and despite like all the I had some kind of worries. Like I wasn't sure, is this gonna be good? Because some of the their talk and comedy shows don't always hit, aren't always great. But this was worth it. And so they had like a lot of cancels like early on. Like I think it was 20 at first, it was like 28, 24 like earlier that day, and then later it jumped up to like 34, 39 cancels. And then they were also begging for people to show up for cancel Machi or cancel Make because not enough people signed up for it. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, yeah, it's a Monday, it's in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I can make sense. Yeah, not a whole lot of people will sign up, and and it's not a theater show, so that makes sense. But yeah, it was just really good. So kind of explain what it was. So if you watch the Nambazar Simbatsu concert, there was the segment with Nagisa. She did her like solo song where she pretended to be was it Matsuda Seiko, like the 80s like Showa idol, boomer idol. And she was like totally in character the whole time, even during MCs and stuff. They kind of basically took that and then had everyone else do that, had a bunch of members do this. So it was essentially like a monomane, which is Japanese for like impression or impersonation. So, like pretending to be another person, a famous person. And it was basically a talent show with that. So all the these members, they all dressed up and like did like a song or a skit or some kind of performance while being like various famous like singers or comedians, characters, artists, what have you. And then there would be kind of like a voting portion at the end where you'd pick. You were given this little like sheet here, and you would pick the top three, your three favorite ones, and then they would tabulate the votes, and then they pick the top three winners for the show. So I guess kind of give some background here. So Navy's Afro, they were the main hosts for this, along with Nagisa as the assistant MC. And then they brought on a special guest. Her name is Mikan, and she's like a monomane gaining, so like a famous like impressionist. Is that the word? She's like a famous impressionist comedian, so like does a lot of impressions. I know like some of the other ones, like I know like Kintaro, but she this one is different. But she was actually really good. She was really funny. She had some good jokes and whatnot. Gave some good commentary. So then they had each member come out, like they did their little bit. So let's see. First up, we had is Sadharu, and so she came out as Nakamori Akina, who is like some like boomer artist from like the 80s. Sang some song. She looks really good. She stayed in character during the MC, so that was all right. Then there was an IP, which if you like been following IP, you probably know what she does. So she did a Universal Studios Japan crew member, and like she's like does before, like her little talent. And so she was like the boat captain for the Jaws ride. So she did like the kind of like a little like monologue speech thing, like from at the beginning of the show, and then also at the end of the ride. So it was really good. I mean, it was really funny. And actually, after like each member would do like their like I don't know, performance thing or whatever, okay, yeah. Like, so Navy's Afro would like comment on it, and they get some feedback from Mikan. And actually, Mikan would also do like a monomane, like a impression, like of of a famous character, like pretend to be some famous like like critic or whatever. But for her, but for IP, she actually did like she did an impression of IP to IP, and it was like spot on. It was pretty good, so it was really funny. So yeah. And then let's see. Then we had Yuina, Matsuoka, Sakura, and Shion, and they did Pekori Naito. So Gorie, which is like some I think mid 2000s, early 2000s, like kind of no, that's that unit or whatever, some kind of weird performance thing. Yeah, so they're all cheerleaders. It was fun. That's really funny. So the main performer is Gourier, and Shion Hordier Shion was the center. So it was a nice little joke. Then we have Harakaren, and she came out as Matsura Aya, and she did like kind of like this medley of some songs. The funny thing with this though is she lip synced the entire part. So she had like this whole like audio track of like some like concert, some kind of live or whatever, completely like with the MC like trying to hype up the crowd and stuff. And Karen was like yeah, lip syncing the whole thing. So it was pretty funny. And like during like the kind of the judge critique segment, the Mikan was like, "Oh man, that was a really good like impression. You sound just like Aya," So it was funny. And then also they also did this during like during a little like, kind of like feedback session. Is like if the members have like another like kind of impression they want to do a kind of like short quick one, they were allowed to do it. So I don't remember what the other members beforehand were, but Khan, I mean, if you watch like her showrooms before, she often does like the sports commentary of Shohei Otani whenever like he does like a home run or whatever. So she did like the oh my god, it's Otani-san, Iterashai, or whatever. So that was all right. That was all right. I mean, though doing lip syncing, it is kind of like kind of weak, but I mean, it's as hey, there's a whole like variety of like these. It's not just people just doing like a song. That's what I was worried about. But like when IB came out and did like the Jaws thing, I was like, okay, so we can get like some variety. It's not just gonna be like singing contest, but dressed up as other people. Yeah, so that was that. Then the next members were Risa and Mihi. And they came out as was this Ushiro Yubisade Kumi, which is like some like boomer duet, like an offshoot from Onyanko Club. So like back from the 80s. And it was all right. It was cute, I guess. And then let's see, Mihi did a Shinchan impression, Crayon Shinchan impression. Mikan also did like a Crayon Shinchan impression. But I guess Mikan's version was like from a different, like an older variation of Shinchan, like a older series, I guess, of it. So that was good. And then Risa actually did a pretty good like kind of quick impression. So she did like the case closed, Detective Conan like opening monologue that like Jimmy Kudo, that's the English name. Shonichi Kudo, yeah, that's the guy's name. Like that whole like opening dialogue, before each episode or whatever. And actually, it was funny. Like while she's like doing that, Hajiri from Navy's Afro, he's like in the background and like he's like kind of like gesturing like the different characters that like Ashley's talking about, like like the commissioner, police detective guy, and then there's like the father who's like Conan's like adopted father or whatever, like doing all these gestures. So people were laughing at that in the background while Risa was doing her thing. But I think Risa did a good job, so that was neat. Next was Zeon and Wakanyan, and they did La 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 no Taiso, or La 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 Taiso, I guess is the yeah, which is like a pretty old comedy group, and they were great. They actually did their own like kind of original like NMB version of the La 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 Taiso, like talking about like senpais taking bentos, and then like they would like put something in the refrigerator and then come back later, and someone took something from the refrigerator and then like do that. So that was a lot of fun. That was really cool. They actually came out with like their own like script for this. So a lot of these things, like people like the members like came up with their own ideas. So that was good. And then next we got Wakapon and Reiko. So they were W, which is like some Morning Musume offshoot duet. I think they're twins. I think that was it. And did the song Robo Kiss. So I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. So some mid 2000s idol action. And after that, they did Wakapon actually did like a Frieza impression, which I didn't realize that was a thing she did. But and I've been thinking like I haven't really watched Japanese Dragon Ball, so I couldn't really compare the voices that well. But I don't know if it was that good. And then Mikan, she did a Goku impression, kind of like to play off of Wakapon's Frieza impression. Actually, her Japanese Goku impression was pretty good as well. So it was all right. Next here we have Chihi and Shion again. So Shion was like in two different like little brackets, and of course she came out in Hanshin Tigers gear, and she did the Hanshin Tigers theme song with a little twist. So she like would sing part of it, and then like midway through the song, she like do a bunch of impersonations of like the team roster or whatever. So like one of them was with like the first one's like, you know, of course, Matt Merton. So she does like the whole like you know, like I guess like that's like Matt Merton's like signature thing. He had like his teeth out while like batting or something. So that, and he did like, you know, the rest of the team. So that was funny. And then Shion came out because she's from Hokkaido, and so she did the Nippon Ham Fighters like fox character. And I didn't know their mascot was a fox. But she came out as a fox, and then they did the song "What Does the Fox Say," and then did that, and that was good. And then even she came back out in a fox costume as well and helped perform with that. So yeah, that was fun. Next was Shinshin, and she came out as Nakashima Mika, which is like, you know, really famous like late 2000s, like, you know, pop singer. And so she would do the song, but it was so because Nakashima Mika, she has like this really deep voice, and she's kind of hard to hear sometimes. And so what Shinshin did, she did like this kind of like mumble sing. So she'd be like the you know, it's like the whole time it's just doing that. And then Minagawa from Nave's Afro, he was like, he fell on the ground laughing. He was laughing so hard at this because it was so hilarious because it was like, oh yeah, dude, that totally is like Nakashima Mika kind of, she totally does like kind of sound like that. So that was really funny. And then next Shiori. So Shiori's was a real gorilla. Picture of a gorilla. I think the picture they used actually was like the Ikemen gorilla from like a Nagoya or Aichi zoo. So there's that. And she was like wearing his like gorilla costume, like with a face out. So, and then yeah, it was like, you know, crawling around on a stage. Like also I didn't mention this, but they have like a TV out like on the side of the stage, which would show, okay, who are they impersonating, what song are they doing, or here's a picture of that so you can kind of put together. And there's a picture of the gorilla. She looks at the gorilla and like does like a Spider-Man like pointing meme. So that was it's funny. And then, you know, she like walks around like, you know, scratches her butt, grabs some poop, and then throws the poop back at the crowd. So that was pretty funny. And as you should say, like she was like inspired by Morita Mariko from Yoshimoto's Shingeki, because that was like her gag in that is like she like pretend to be a gorilla and throw her poop as well. So yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty fun. It was a nice like it was a nice change. Like this whole like I think the backslide was actually pretty good. Like the whole like back end of this of these performances were actually pretty good. Then the last was Mikana, and she came out as Morita Doji, who's like some fucking like I don't know, like boomer, like John Lennon looking motherfucker, Japanese John Lennon. You know, like with like afro and sunglasses, and did a song. Yeah, it was all right. You know, he was very stoic the whole time. Yeah, so they did that, and then they asked everyone to like the vote to like, you know, pick the three you voted. So I voted for Karen, even though I don't think she deserved it. But hey, you got to give the Oshi power. I think even like Nagisa at the start of the show, she's like, oh yeah, be sure to vote for the three best ones, not just your Ocean. Anyway, but yeah, I voted for Karen, I voted for IP, and I voted for Shiori, just because hey, coming out as a gorilla, that's pretty good. And then IP is like Jaws, you know, boat driver thing was awesome. So yeah, so they did that, and then I actually this actually was pretty funny for me. So like we had the little papers and we marked them, and then they would pass like this little like bucket, like a tray. It reminded me like back like when I went to church and like they have like the offering tray where like you put like your money for like the offering, but you're putting like your little like note in here and then you pass it to the person next to you. It reminded me of like that. So that was actually pretty funny for me. And I get like, oh, someone's like not ready, so I'm holding it like off to the side, like waiting for the guy to like, you know, get his like paper out, because I think they all thought like they had like they're just gonna drop it like in a box afterwards, but no, you had to like take out the paper out of the little plastic bag and put it in the little bin, and I passed over to him. So after, you know, get all the votes, then like, you know, they had to count and tabulate all the results. So in that time, they had a little like kind of like, you know, little intermission, not really intermission, not really a break, but they had some other members who were also on the cast list, but they weren't main performers. So these, I when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, okay, are they gonna be like, backup dancers or backup, performers or guests or whatever to kind of help set up like the jokes or whatever. But no, they actually they brought out these members. So it was Misaki, Keito, Fuwa, Miki, and Yumin, and which is a big reason why I decided to come to this afternoon show instead of the night show. I mean, a couple reasons. But because so Connor was going to be in both shows, so I'm like, okay, it didn't really matter. But Misaki was only going to be in the afternoon show, so I'm like, okay, I want to like see both of them. And actually, I got really lucky because like 2 days before, they also announced that. So I guess Yunanon was originally part of this list, but they switched her with Fuwa, who was originally part of the night show. So I actually got to see Fuwa too, so that was good. So I got to see like all my top 4 in the show, so that was good. And yeah, so they did their own little short like impressions or what of the famous characters and things. So let's see, and that was just with Navy's Afro and Nagisa. So let's see, Misaki, she was like a dolphin show like trainer, like MC host or whatever, try to get the crowd hyped up for the dolphin show. She did that in Japanese, and it's okay. And hey, she was like good spirits, good energy. So I think that was all right. Keito was Kenpachi Sensei, which I don't get the reference, so but I guess she did that twice. Fuwa was some character from like an anime or manga called Bebop High School, which I never heard of, but I guess it's like some like manga or anime from like the 80s or 90s or something, some boomer anime. Which I'm surprised like Fuwa is into that, but I think she probably has like she has a lot of like older influences that clues her in with that kind of stuff. Yeah, Miki, she did like a solo version of Choo Choo Train, which is kind of like, it was kind of sad, but also kind of funny. Yeah, and then Yumin did Lola, who was like this like famous like half Japanese, half Bangladeshi, talento, I guess. And yeah, it was pretty good. And then like so everyone went through once, and then they had a little extra time, so they let some people like go through again, like do another one if they had to or retry. So with Misaki, she actually went again, and so she did Do You Want to Build a Snowman from the movie Frozen, and she did the English version. And so I really liked that. That was really good. And I think even like some of the hosts were pretty impressed by it. Yumin was like kind of freaking like, holy crap, like really shocked what was happening in front of her eyes. So yeah, and then Fuwa and Keito redid their things. They did like another variation of their gags. And then Miki was about, or not Miki, Yumin was about to go on. And so they're like, okay, and they count her down 3, 2, 1, and then ding, 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 ding. And then he's like, okay, time's up. Okay, well, the results are in. We need to move on. And so it was just perfect comedy timing. I wasn't sure if it was like, oh, it's planned to be like that, or just happened to happen like that. But in any case, it was really funny. Of course, it's Yumin. They always like kind of like, kind of screw her over because she's like the big senpai or whatever. She got really pissed off about it, like kind of jokingly, but like, wow, I was so ready for this, So that was hilarious. Yeah, and then they moved on, and then they had everyone come out, and then they announced the results. And for that, so they had top 3. So in third place was Sadharu with 91 votes. Which when I heard like, okay, Sadharu only third place. Okay, so there were a lot of Sadharu fans, so I guess there were like the Orange Cult. They were, usually they can like brute force their way into anything. So okay, figured okay, third place. Okay, at least it's not first. And then second was Shinshin with 100 votes, which that was pretty good. I mean, yeah, I felt like her thing was like, okay, cool. And also, oh my god, and back in my mind, I also think, all right, yeah, 6-gen domination. First place is gonna be Karen or Deguchi, who knows. Yeah, and then actually first place was IP, and she actually had 103 votes, so like 3 vote difference. Yeah, and then like I'm like it's well deserved. It was awesome. So yeah, I think that was awesome. We're proud of her. She did a good job. And then they also did like, oh yeah, oh by the way, in last place was Shiori with the gorilla thing. They just like kind of just threw that aside. So, okay, well at least Karen didn't get last place. But yeah, that was Yeah, it was good. So yeah, I didn't catch what they said the prize was. They kept on talking about like, oh yeah, there's gonna be some like reward, like as if like there's gonna be like another round of these, or like they're gonna be on a show doing these. But the thing is, they also have a night show with the same cast, uh, presumably probably made mostly the same audiences or same judges or whatever. But yeah, they got some prize, yeah. And yeah, so but I mean, I didn't get to actually, this show wasn't streamed at all, so you had to be here, you had to be in Japan, you had to be at the theater, you had to get a ticket to go watch it. So a lot of people were complaining about, hey, it wasn't streamed. I think, I mean, it really, if it was streamed, it would have been pretty good because I think it was really funny. Everyone should see it. Maybe they'll like upload it to YouTube later or on YNN or who knows, something. But yeah, it was really fun. It was really great. I actually bought the cast photos for this for a show just because like got to see all the costumes. They're all in costume for the photos. So I bought those. That was awesome. But yeah, overall, yeah, it was a really good show. So yeah, you should have gone to the show. It's really worth it. And yeah, with that, I think that's gonna be it for my little like vlog of today's events. Yeah, it was a kind of short day, 2 days here overnight. I'm not sure about when next time I'll be here in Namba. Come to another theater show. I think I'm mostly tapped out for this month. And there's not really a whole lot going on. They have like You Got It NMB like later in August, like I think the 18th. So maybe I'll come over for that. They also got they're basically just doing theater shows for the rest of the summer. So you can see those pretty much anytime. So yeah, probably sometime like late in August, I'll probably come over for another trip while I'm still on summer vacation. But yeah, that's gonna do it for a show. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good shit. Follow me on Twitter. See my random rants and other posts and stuff. Let me know what you think of the show. If you saw any like highlights on Twitter or on the internet, look those all up. And yeah, I will catch y'all later. Peace.